Yokoso, yokoso, yokoso. Arigato gozaimasu, konbanwa, and all of that. Welcome to the Stadia Monday Night Chat, episode 106. I am, of course, your host, Clive Illenden. I hope you're good. I hope you're well. It's been a couple of weeks now since I took Easter Monday off. Chill out, lay back, have some time, eat some chocolate, all of that. But it's good to be back. And, oh man, it turns out that it's been a pretty busy week for Stadia in the end. But more on that later. Of course, make sure you all say hello in the chat. Let me know what games you've been playing this week, what games you're looking forward to, especially in Pro. I believe we still have some games for Pro that haven't been announced yet. That's what I think anyway. So let me know in the chat any kind of Pro games you think we might get in addition to the ones we've already got, of course. And don't forget to hit the likes, as I like it. YouTube likes it, and it helps super bright, lovely, intelligent people like you find awesome Stadia content like this. And of course, if you are new here, yokoso, arigato gozaimasu. Thank you for popping by. Much appreciated. Why don't you hit that subscribe button, toggle that notification bell, and that way you'll know when I go live with awesome Stadia content like this, ladies and gentlemen. Okay then. Let us see who is in the first in the queue, waiting for the concert hall doors to open, ready to rush to the front and cheer on the band. Let's see who is in chat early doors. And by the way, let me know what you've been playing, of course, in the chat. But we'll say hello to the early birds. We're going to get the worms. Anthony there. First in the house. Excellent work, sir. Mr. Bayram Plays, how are you? Sednar. Lloyd. Yoo-hoo. You. Back to you there, sir. Winstar, lovely to see you. Of course. Dave, look at that wonderful clown face, Dave. One of the most loyal members there, showing his little members emoji there. Mr. Urban World. Hello, Motto. Hey, good to see you. And hey, nice intro, ain't it? It is a nice intro. Don't worry about that. Helix Cloud Games in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Hello there. Lovely to see you. Mr. Urban World, of course. Hotline Miami 2 is my next Stadia game. I've not started playing Hotline. Well, it's getting ridiculous now. I was showing my daughter, there's like so many games that I've not touched on Stadia. We just get in the habit of collecting them. Anyway, yeah, so Stadia Adventure saying Judgment. It came from space. And Elder Scrolls Online. I'm looking for trying Young Souls. Yes, I played Young Souls a bit when it came out on Stadia Pro the first time round. Did enjoy that, but, got distracted by some other shiny thing that popped up on Stadia. So not gone back to it and all of that. So there you go. In terms of me, what have I been playing? Ease 9 Monstrum Nox. Oddly enough, I was testing it out just to see what it was like, and was showing my partner it. I thought she might be interested in it, and it's a typical JRPG. All the sort of those Japanese tropes are in it, just like Ease 8, of course. But a lot of fun. You build up your skill set to beat the kind of beat the boss levels and stuff like that, and lots of sort of different keystrokes required, and you kind of learn as you go in that kind of, and a hell of a lot of dialogue. JRPGs, they love their dialogue. On the nose dialogue. Oh man, sometimes a bit like anime or Japanese film. It's like show, don't explain, but they love to explain it all. hey, welcome to the prison. This is a prison. The prison holds all these people, and your prison number is. I get that. It's all inferred. Don't move on. Move on. And of course, a little bit of 9 to 5 Rogue Shift. I tried eventually. I had some issues with Rogue Shift because Rogue Shift is basically a PC game. So they use a cursor, and I use a controller. So you've got to control the cursor with the controller to sort of, click on the proceed or next bit, rather than just like, when a game's been developed for a console, it's just, press A, press X, press A, and it will take you through the menus. But when a game's been developed for PC, it's like, oh no, move the cursor over to the thing you want, then press enter, sort of thing. Press A on the controller. Anyway, the cursor is it's almost transparent, and it's a tiny sort of almost transparent white ring. I can't see it. I couldn't see it. In fact, I don't even think it's turned up on the screen when I was playing on the LG. I could just about see it when I played it on the PC. But yeah, anyway, the point is, I got over that on 9 to 5 Rogue Shift, had a quick game, and a lot of fun. So I highly recommend playing a bit of Rogue Shift. I mean, it's free to play, so there's no excuse. No excuse. Let's see, before we go to the news, let's have a look. Mr. Urban World's been playing Power Rangers on Stadia. Oh, and now mastering Robocop on Mortal Kombat 11. Oh, Robocop. One of my all-time favourite films, the original Robocop, for various reasons. My thesis at uni, partly based on Robocop, interestingly enough. And ultra-violence. Outriders. It's a Stadia Adventure. I've got to get into Dark Side Detective. Just not enough time. Too many games. Stadia, stop it with the games. I've realised that, partly the community, some of the community, a bit like children, at Christmas, when they just want to open the presents. Yeah. And then you say, well, I bought you this present. Now go and play with it before you open the next present. But they go, no, what's the next present? I want to open another present. Well, you haven't really looked at that present yet. You haven't even sort of played it yet. Yeah, I know. Can I open another present now? Well, okay, here's another present. Open it. Right, what about another present? And it's more like just getting the presents rather than playing with them. And I think we've got into a bit of a habit now. We've got so many games on Stadia where it's like, no, I just want to know what the next game is. But you're going to play the games? No, just tell me what the next game is. There's no games on Stadia. Tell me what the next game is. Okay, here's a game. What's next now? Okay, now I know that bit of information. What's next? What's next? It's like, why don't you play some of the games? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, before that. Oh, yeah, and World War Z, of course. I did jump into a live stream with Helix Cloud Games, actually. That was a lot of fun. I hadn't played multiplayer before then. I play sort of semi-solo. Like, I don't hang around so I'm playing the campaign, but I don't hang around to wait for real people. I just wait for the bots to turn up, and then I play. That is such a good game, though. And it does. I don't know why people moaning about what it's not 4K or all that kind of, it looks amazing to me. And it's smooth play. I'd rather have a game that looks pretty good, but plays really smoothly. And World War Z does that, considering the amount of, zombies on the screen at any one time. I mean, it plays really, really well. So definitely, mustn't forget World War Z. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think, as we're all gathered here, I think it's time for the news. As I say, I think it was I know, because I wrote the script. It's been a busy week, right? Which is a bit weird, actually, because that's not what people were sort of saying at the beginning of last week. But as things turned out, it's actually been quite busy in the end. People just lack a bit of patience, don't they, really? More on that later. But anyway, so let's bring you all up to date with all things Stadia. I think it's time. It's over to Clive in the Stadia Monday Night Chat news studio. Clive, find the right thing. Clive, it's over to you. Thanks, Clive. So here is the news for the Stadia Monday Night Chat, the 25th of April, 2022. Last week, Stadia revealed in a press release an initial 3 Stadia Pro titles for May, with the promise of more announcements later in the week. And one of those titles is a major AAA title from last year, Outriders. Initially, Outriders had a torrid launch with a number of bugs and no crossplay, but it was still a lot of fun to play. 12 months later, the game is vastly improved on Stadia, includes crossplay, all thanks to a massive update last year, New Horizon, which vastly improved the game on Stadia. And now more recently, we have Outriders World Slayer coming to all platforms on the 30th of June 2022. This is a perfect time for the title to hit Pro with the new attention it's going to gain from this new content. Outriders is a great addition to the Pro library, and it's encouraging to see AAA titles arrive on Stadia Pro. Lamote, the Master Moat Chronicles is a title that developers already mentioned would be coming to Stadia Pro in May. Well, now that's all confirmed. This puzzle platformer where you play as the squishiest bioluminescent creature in this beautiful 3D puzzle platformer. You take control of the world's inhabitants on a quest into great depths to seize control from the Master Moat. And then one for the kids, and perhaps underlying the variety of games that we get when it comes to Stadia Pro games, is Paw Patrol, the movie Adventure City Calls from Outright Games. It was predicted a few weeks ago on this very show, I'll have you know, that we might see Five Nights at Freddy's from Steel Wolf Studios, as they were spotted as one of the participating partners in the low change porting pilot. Well, now it is official, as Five Nights at Freddy's security breach has been officially announced in the recent Stadia blog post. This is the latest installment of the family-friendly, not sure about that, horror game loved by millions of players from all over the globe. This game is super popular. In it, you play as Gregory, a young boy trapped overnight in Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex. With the help of Freddy Fazbear himself, Gregory must survive the near unstoppable hunt of reimagined Five Nights at Freddy's characters, as well as new horrific threats. No launch date for this one yet, but it's great to see the low change porting initiative bearing fruit, and this really has huge potential for Stadia when they roll out that scheme for other publishers and developers later this year, as mentioned at the developer conference. There was also a surprise announcement, not many people saw this game, of Death Run TV coming very soon to Stadia. Death Run TV is a fast, hardcore, roguelite, twin-stick shooter set in the world's biggest and craziest game show. You'll experience real-time blistering speed and bullet-dodging action as you compete for glory, assuming that is, of course, you're able to survive in this 2D bullet hell where only likes really count. It's great to see more bullet hell-type games on the platform. This is from Merge Games and was initially announced last year at E3, but is yet unreleased on any platform. Merge Games brought us Foreclosed, and I couldn't help but notice that they also have Alex Kidd in Miracle World for those who have a nostalgia bent. I'd love to see that game on Stadia. Following the announcement of free demos coming to Stadia at the Google Games Developer Conference, again last month, we've seen a list of available free demos steadily increasing, and this week is no exception, with the following titles being added. We've got Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle from Bandai Namco. Can you chomp your way to victory in the world's biggest simultaneous multiplayer Pac-Man experience? This is Pac-Man meets Battle Royale, and it's a lot of fun. The play trial for this one is 30 minutes. Then, from Outright Games, of course, we have Blaze and the Monster Machines Axle City Racers. Here you take the popular children's show for a spin with monster trucks galore. Again, play trial for this one is 60 minutes. And then Dragon Quest XI-S, Echoes of an Elusive Age from Square Enix, more on them later. In this adventure RPG, more JRPG, this will be available as a trial for 120 minutes. And then we have Little Nightmares Complete Edition, again from Bandai Namco. In this adventure platform, you embark on a dark, whimsical tale that will confront your childhood fears. Play the trial for 30 minutes, and this game honestly looks amazing on Stadia and, of course, is super creepy. Pac-Man was one of the first demos to come to Stadia back in 2020 during the Good Stuff. Do you remember that? So it's good to see the title returning. Remember, with these demos and free trials, there is no sign-up required. So it is a perfect way for people just to give Stadia a go, to see whether it works and whether it's for them. It's great to see a range of publishers and games utilising the free demo service that Stadia is offering, and the ease with which it can all be set up. Basically, as announced at the Google for Games Developer Conference, all a publisher has to do is just tell Stadia how long they want the demo to last, and Stadia do the rest. And so far, that's 13 titles having trials and counting. So this is absolutely great for Stadia. In terms of future games, recently spotted by Cody Maloney, Hot Wheels Unleashed from Milestone, another developer on the low change porting pilot, has been certified on ESRB for Stadia. By all accounts, this is a really popular game with an arcade/racing style and elements akin to Wipeout and tabletop racing, but with Hot Wheels cars. In the game, the player assumes control of vehicles from the Hot Wheels franchise, and you'll race against other opponents in miniature tracks set in various everyday locations and environments, such as your garage, your kitchen, your bedroom. The vehicles featured in the game can be extensively customized. There are 66 different cars that are available at the launch of the game, so there may be even more now. And the game also features a career mode, a time trial, and a track editor. Could that track editor make use of state share, I wonder? And the game supports up to 12 players in an online session, and you can also compete with another player in local split-screen multiplayer mode. No sign of when it's going to come to Stadia, but since it's just been certified, could it be a pro title in May? Let me know what you think in the chat. It would be an awesome pro title, as the game is very much loved and very popular. And talking of other games that have recently been certified for Stadia but not officially announced, we have The Darkest of Times from Stadia-friendly publisher Handy Games. This is a real interesting game with a history lesson theme. You're the leader of a small resistance group in 1933's Berlin of ordinary people, from Jews to Catholics to communists and patriots, who simply can't stand aside and see what is happening in Germany in the 30s. And your goal is to deal small blows to them. Another game that was certified on ESRB for Stadia, as mentioned some weeks ago on this very show, has now been officially announced for Stadia. And that, of course, is legendary arcade classic, The House of the Dead. The official House of the Dead Twitter account announced it's having a multi-platform launch, including Stadia, on April the 28th. So that's a few days' time, having previously had a short spell as an exclusive on Switch. Talking of the 28th of April, you have until then to take part in the 9 to 5 Rogue Shift content. Remember, 9 to 5 is a free-play PvP shooter, and Rogue Shift is also free. Unlike the main game, you're not in teams here. You're on your own as you loot, shoot, and find a secret suitcase, and then survive until you get extracted. It's a sort of mini battle royale, and it's pretty cool for that. After a few initial problems launching the game, when I did get to play it, it's really enjoyable and quite tense. And for those who are looking for that sort of solo PvP sort of battle royale experience, this could be for you. The Rogue Shift event finishes on the 28th of April. And personally, I hope it becomes a permanent part of the game, because I think it's a really good example of that, how that game can work. Talking of battle royales, or not, as the case may be, a few weeks ago, again, on this very show, make sure you subscribe and like so you stay up to date with these kind of rumours and tips on what games might be coming to Stadia. But anyway, as mentioned on this very show a few weeks ago, and I hasten to add, I was the first to reveal it, there was a rumour that Ubisoft was working on another PvP similar in look and style to Hyperscape called Project Q. Well, following a leak of some early footage, Ubisoft have confirmed that the game is in fact real, so it is no longer a rumour and is in the very early stages of development. And no, they say, this is not actually a battle royale, but is a PvP game with sort of team elements in it. In a statement they said, "So, we heard you heard. Introducing codename Project Q, a team battle arena letting players truly own the experience. The game is in early development and we will keep testing. So for now, all you can do is register for upcoming tests." So if you haven't registered, get yourself over to the Ubisoft site, get yourself registered. Talking of Ubisoft, Ubisoft is still very much all in on Stadia and is looking for a Stadia specialist for quality management and localization. The key about this job is it is not a generalist role. It is a specifically Stadia related role. So hopefully with all the games coming to Stadia from Ubisoft, we'll start seeing better quality control. We know games like Division 2 are proof Ubisoft can deliver an awesome 4K 60 frames per second quality experience. But not all Ubisoft games hit that quality threshold. So hopefully, with this job that is specifically aimed at Stadia and Stadia quality control, we'll see an improvement in that in the future. So look out for that. Star Wars now, and a new Star Wars adventure is on the way from one of the gaming's most acclaimed creators. Skydance New Media announced a collaboration with Lucasfilms to develop and produce a narrative-driven action-adventure game featuring an original story in the Star Wars galaxy. Helming Skydance New Media is award-winning writer and director Amy Hennig, a game industry legend whose credits include the blockbuster series Legacy of Kain, Jak and Daxter, and Uncharted. What's interesting about this, when it comes to cloud gaming, and therefore possibly Stadia, is one particular line in the official Star Wars press release, which states, Skydance New Media was formed in 2019 with the goal of creating high-fidelity, rich, interactive experiences crafted for traditional gaming platforms, as well as emerging streaming services. So very clear that they have their eye on cloud gaming. So could we see the game developed or at least published on cloud gaming platforms like Stadia? There are a number of Star Wars titles in development right now. One of those we know is with Ubisoft. We know EA is working on a Jedi Fallen sequel. So hopefully Stadia will be seeing some Star Wars action in the not too distant future in a galaxy hopefully not too far away. And finally, heads up that From Space demo has now been removed from Steam and Stadia, as it looks like they're readying the game for full launch. In a recent tweet from the official Twitter account, they stated, heads up, we'll soon discontinue and remove the From Space demo from Steam and Stadia. The demo has served its purpose, and it's no longer representative of the game in terms of gameplay and visuals. More news coming soon. Thanks for playing. Smiley face. So keep your eyes peeled for that. The demo is, or should I say, was an absolute scream with its multiplayer action. It was easy to pick up and play and a lot of fun. So anyway, looking forward to the final game to see what improvements they've made. When it's going to be launched, we don't know, but it looks like it could be soon. So there you go for the news for the Stadia Monday Night Chat this week. It's back to Clive, live in the studio. Clive, over to you. Wow, man. That's a hell of a lot of news. So, yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks, man, for that. Much appreciated. That's a lot of news, especially considering when the twos came out on Tuesday. There was a lot of dissatisfaction and mumbling and rumbling as ever. Oh, it was a bit of a weak twas. It was a weak twas. Oh, that's it. Small signs, slow. Stadia is slowing down, and how are they going to achieve 100 games this year? And all that nonsense. And it is nonsense. You can't judge Stadia on 1 week. Yeah? You judge it over a year. Yeah. What statements have they made about what they're planning to do, and have they delivered that after the 12 months, whatever? So they've said they're going to deliver 100 plus games in 2023. Let's see whether they've delivered 100 plus games in 2023 in December. Yeah. They said they're going to be introducing more free trials. There are 13 to date. So they're delivering on that. And, you know, we're still early into that kind of the offering of free trials, and they're already at 13 free trials at any one time on the platform. Low change porting. We're seeing games from those in the pilot scheme, and they haven't actually rolled out low change porting to the wider publisher developer community yet. So we're going to see even more. And then they mentioned they've talked about part of their strategy, improving Stadia Pro incentives for publishers. Well, we're seeing more Stadia, that we're seeing the Stadia Pro library steadily increase in size. So, that's all, by all accounts, that is Stadia delivering on many of its key strategies that they said they'd be delivering on. Notice how I said there. Yeah, we have to judge Stadia on what they, i.e. Stadia, say their plans are. Yeah, on what Stadia say their strategy is, not on what people think it should be or what people think they should do, and then go, well, they didn't do that, so Stadia's not succeeding. Yeah, it's succeeding on what measure? Your measure that you made up and pulled out your ass, yeah? Or legitimate statements made by Stadia, this is what we're intending to do. Judge them on that. And so far, as ever, as last year, they delivered 100 plus games. They said they were going to deliver 100 plus games. They delivered 100 plus games. The year before, the same. So, as ever, judge them over a period of time, not just on 1 week. So it was quite amusing to see all the people moaning on Tuesday after the TWAS, and then, within 2 hours later, there's announcement of pro games, and then virtually the next day, there's announcement of 2 new games, including an extremely popular game in Five Nights at Freddy's, plus, of course, a AAA game coming to Stadia Pro. So that's sort of, I think Stadia were trolling all the moaning minis on the Reddit. Yeah, I think they were leading them into that false sense, getting them all ready to sort of moan, and then like, bosh, AAA on Stadia Pro in your face. Bosh, Five Nights at Freddy, super popular game. Anyway, we're only coming to the end of the first third of the year. Yeah. So you have my permission to ignore the typical negativity nonsense around Stadia as ever. Here is your pass to ignore it all. Just on the issue of From Space, the wonderful John Scars on Stadium Connect North, and various ugly mugs from the rock show that seemed to have invaded his show, interviewed the developer of From Space, and it's very, very enlightening, especially about behind the scenes at Stadia from a developer's point of view, and how Stadia have done so much work in making it so much easier now for developers when they're launching their games, and just all the things they need to have ready. He's saying the Stadia have made that process so much easier. There's so much to think about when you're launching a game. What's your thumbnail on the Stadia store is going to be, and get that loaded, and all this kind of lots of stuff you've got to think about. And he was very complimentary about how Stadia have really, really improved that process, and they were a massive help. Also mentioned some stuff that, some features that Stadia had been working on. Obviously couldn't tell us that Stadia are constantly working on new features, but I guess from the game point of view, I think I'm recalling he said the third quarter, so we can expect From Space, the game of which has dramatically improved according to the developer. That's partly why they've taken the demo off, because it no longer really represents the sort of the standard and the quality of the game. That's what he's saying. And they're sort of readying it. They're probably in the final stages now. So they're anticipating a launch of From Space in the third quarter. He wasn't going to be drawn on any more than that, even though John pushed him, define third quarter. But he said, expect more news as we come towards E3. And I know there isn't an E3, but that period of time, so the beginning of June, where E3 normally sits, is now the sort of traditional big game announcements, that a lot of developers and publishers focus on that period of time to make announcements and stuff like that. So watch out for that, and should be good. All right, then. So just to add some additional news, we've got some new content here some new content from Rainbow Six Siege here. Rainbow Six Siege. Play that in the background so you can see it. Rainbow Six Siege from the 26th of April, 17th of May. Rainbow Six Siege shakes up its formula with a new fast-paced action event set in Japan. Play the brand new Rengoku event with special weapons in a remodeled skyscraper map imbued with ancient divine spirits. So a whole sort of new game, a new game element there in an existing map, but sort of enhanced. Might be worth looking at that. Might be worth. They're getting more and more like a kind of Apex meets, moving away from that kind of realism to more fantasy, more and more in Rainbow Six Siege. Personally, not a bad thing. You know, I like that kind of aspect. So, you know, cool with me. Anyway, just thought I'd add that because I noticed that popped up on my Twitter this evening, and we'd like to keep you up to date with all the latest. Right. Talking of bringing, talking of new games, let me just close this down a second. Talking of new games and bringing and encouraging new titles to Stadia, what is apparent is that Stadia is not on everyone's radar when it comes to developers and publishers. I think we know that, but we're certainly sort of getting a sense anecdotally that sort of it's not in the forethought of some developers and stuff like that. And that can be for many reasons, a number of reasons. But for small developers, sometimes it's just a lack of awareness or even understanding of how difficult / easy it potentially is to get their game on Stadia, which is why I thought I'd start a new section of the show, which I hope to be a regular regular slot even, that I'm going to call Bring It to Stadia. Okay, so Bring It to Stadia. What is Bring It to Stadia all about? As some of you may be aware, the developer of Outbreak Contagious Memories was asked about bringing the game to Stadia. And at first he said he wasn't sure, but if there was enough interest, etc., then he would. So for those that aren't familiar with the game, let me just play it. Okay, so yeah. So at first he said he wasn't sure. And then since then, the Stadia community has sort of corralled around, encouraged him, and he's sort of been inspired almost to sort of really work hard to bring it to Stadia. You know, the Stadia community have put him in touch with the Stadia product managers. He's already had conversations with Stadia. And yeah, he's been very positive about the reaction of the Stadia community. And so it's made him very favorable to publishing the game on Stadia. And in fact, he's even got a little Twitter update that he's pinned to his Twitter. This is the developer to tell us the status. So this just goes to show, yeah, he's pinned up here a little. Let me go big. Let me go big for this. Let me show you, we can see, and let me see my big head as well, because that's really important, isn't it? Hello. Hello. Right. So, so this is the developer of Outbreak. Bring Outbreak to Stadia. This is hashtag there. So here we are, this timeline. Fans reach out to request Stadia ports. Will Stadia fans support the series to help us port? Yes, we asked, and the series sales jumped nearly 1,000% in 24 hours. He did say, you know, look, to help me, just support me as a developer, and it will show me encouragement. Now, some people were going, well, you know, that sounds a bit fishy. That's found a bit dodgy. You know, the old cynics out there in the crowd were like, hey, wait a minute, son. That sounds a bit dodgy. That's a bit dodgy. But as explained again in the interview, the great interview that John Scars did, Stadium Connect North, with the developer, he was able to take away that data and present it to Stadia to say, look, the Stadia community wants it. Look what's happened to my game since the Stadia community jumped on board and showed their enthusiasm for this game. So he was able to use that data to help his sort of pitch to Stadia. And this is not me. This is what he was saying and explaining in the interview with John. Highly recommend you check it out. Are fans interested in bringing the series to Stadia via Stadia Pro? Yes, we asked, and fans overwhelmingly voted that they'd support Outbreak on Stadia Pro. Again, this was great evidence that and data that he could present to Stadia. So this is the plan. We'll try to secure a commitment to bring Outbreak to Stadia via Stadia Pro. So he's having conversations, which he can't discuss, obviously. He's under an NDA with Stadia. But if that doesn't work, they'll swap to a crowdfunding campaign. We've seen that work with Sky Climbers, and more on that later. So there you go. So I'm just showing you that. A lot of you obviously know about Outbreak and stuff, but I just wanted to show that it really demonstrates what it means to a small indie when a gaming community show enthusiasm and encouragement. We as a community can make things happen. In fact, let me just share this the bit of the interview where he explains.
And how it's been happening.
Yes.
It's been a very positive experience, to be completely honest.
Frustrated? It's time to take control of your home climate.
I mean, it was a fire hose that just kind of shot at me that Tuesday, and I'm not. That's not overselling it. I mean, it has literally been a nonstop fire hose now for 9 days of folks reaching out on social media, DMing me, messaging me in Discord. It is, I leave the computer for 30 minutes and come back to 50 things on, like 50 little notifications on Twitter.
Wow. It helps if I
you really, it's hard to overstate what an impact.
Talking about.
I really think Stadia is going to be able to help us with that goal and be a part of it with all the love the Stadia fans are showing us. So it's super exciting.
Speaking of that, actually, now that we talk about Stadia, so what has been your experience, like from the beginning, like since you started to right now, since April 12th, what's been happening, and what's your feeling with the community and how it's been happening?
It's been a very positive experience, to be completely honest. I mean, it was a fire hose that just kind of shot at me that Tuesday, and I'm not. That's not overselling it. I mean, it has literally been a nonstop fire hose now for 9 days of folks reaching out on social media, DMing me, messaging me in Discord. It is, I leave the computer for 30 minutes and come back to 50 things on, like 50 little notifications on Twitter.
Wow.
You really,
awesome.
It's hard to overstate what an impact and how visible the community has been able to be in getting my attention and bringing the need to bring the series to Stadia to light. And since then, I've met hundreds of people, believe it or not, now. And in just a week now, and gotten some really awesome feedback, learned a whole lot about the Stadia platform. I went and bought a couple Premier editions, the Premier, I'm sorry, I don't know the exact title. It's the Premier one that comes with the controller and
that's the Premier.
In the unit. I got to play around with that quite a bit yesterday. That was a lot of fun. And everything about the platform seems super impressive from a technical perspective. Nice. And the fans seem really passionate.
So there you go. It just goes to show that we can have an impact. And he used a lot of that data and stuff in his discussions with Stadia and stuff. And so it had a really, really big impression. So I show you that just to provide context, okay, to the whole idea of the feature. And yes, Anthony also did a wonderful interview with the developer. So check that out as well. Anthony in the back of his car. Maybe that's a new theme. Anthony does back of the car interviews like a cab driver, but in reverse, where Anthony's the passenger and the guest is the taxi driver. Yeah. Anyway, make sure you check out Anthony's interview as well. Anyway, just showing you that. Put that down. Just showing you that so here's the next game that I think is worth bring it to Stadia, as they say. And it is this from Stalwart. Let's go there. Stalwart Industries. So they've got a game here based on an iconic novel, apparently. Not that I'm familiar with the novel. Again, it's a bit like Deliver Us the Moon. It's a sort of dystopia. In this case, I think set on Mars or something like that, about a lost astronaut and things like this. This very obviously early footage is coming to Steam. And of course, somebody asked in the community, you can bring it to Stadia. And they said, obviously, it wasn't on their mind at the time, but they're looking at a number of options. There we go. So it's got that kind of very much, Deliver Us the Moon, Deliver Us Mars kind of feel to it. Very early stages anyway. And it's called I forgot what it's called. It's called The Invincible. Let me just find that. Got that down. So it's already on there we are. The Invincible. It's already on the Steam site there. It's a first-person sci-fi thriller set in a retro future timeline. Waking up on a hostile planet, you embark on a mysterious mission to find the missing crew of your spaceship whilst trying to survive terrifying secrets of the planet that will unfold in front of you. Here is another title that is worthy of bring it to Stadia, ladies and gentlemen. And I think, I forget who it was that asked on this occasion. Here's the tweet. I think, yes, it's Mr. 1030, of course. Of course it was. And so Mr. 1030, of course. Hello, Mr. 1030 in the chat there. Hi, everyone. Congrats on your cover story. So this magazine got a cover story on Edge magazine. For those of you who don't know Edge magazine, it's like the super cool magazine that developers read about, other games from a kind of more sort of slightly artistic, cultural point of view. So less the business and more the culture of games, and it's read by a lot of sort of developers and stuff. It's a great magazine. It's almost like a kind of a coffee table magazine, a bit of a serious read for people in the developer industry, but slightly from a more sort of cultural, artistic, technical kind of point of view. Anyway, they had the front cover of the magazine, this game did. So Mr. 1030 here is saying, thank you for the congrats on the cover story. Question, would you consider porting your game to Stadia? His response, to answer your question, we're looking into this possibility, smiley face. We know it's important for some players. So it's on their radar. So if ever there was a game to jump onto to bring it to Stadia, it's this. Yeah. The Invincible. So they're looking at it. So we need to go out there and encourage them literally to bring it to Stadia, get that hashtag going, bring it to Stadia, ladies and gentlemen. And interesting enough, I did post something. Shall I show you this? It's just depressed me. No, I'm not going to show you, but I did. I posted it on Reddit, and my faith in that damn website, not that I had any faith in it at all, took a swan dive to some of the responses of me suggesting we should bring a title to Stadia. FFS. What is wrong with people, Reddit? Yeah, what is wrong with the people on Reddit? Like, you try to bring a bit of enthusiasm, optimism, encourage a developer to come to the platform, And then there are people on Reddit, on the Stadia Reddit, just poo-pooing the idea. Oh, not another. We don't want shovelware. Oh, I just want Call of Duty. That says it all. It says it all. Anyway, so let's get this game, The Invincible, ladies and gentlemen. Why don't I drop their Twitter handle? Get yourselves over there, bring it to Stadia, check it out, check the game out, and all of that. And let's get The Invincible. Let's convince the developer to bring The Invincible, based on a novel, to Stadia. Next up on this game called Sentry. This is like a tower defense game, but with a bit of sort of first-person action in there as well. So a nice little mix. As you can see, you can't see the tower defense aspect of it at the moment, but you will do. Basically, you get to set up turrets. So there's a bit of like, you know, World War Z in that aspect, with a sort of a bit of a turret defense style approach, and then a bit of FPS going on as well. But you'll see later he sets up various turrets in place as well. Anyway, so this game is called. There he's putting that. Look there, you see he's placing. And look, the lovely sort of digital, that old school digital display of what he's placing, setting up the various tower defense things there, which is pretty cool. So again, bring it to Stadia, ladies and gentlemen. Get this one, you know, get the developer on board to bring this one to Stadia. Why? Let me have a look. Let's have a look here. Again, when asked about Stadia, on this one, we certainly have other platforms. So again, who was this? Oh, look, Mr. 1030 again. We certainly have other platforms in mind for the future. I must confess, Stadia wasn't part of the original plan, but if there's enough desire for it, and importantly, someone at Stadia I can speak to, we'd sure consider it. And again, Mr. 1030 there very helpfully pointed him in the direction of Heavy on the Sticks and Alan Joyce, who are both Stadia product managers at Google. And Fireblade Software Developer says, awesome, thanks. So again, let's get this. Let me put this in the chat and show your enthusiasm again to this particular developer. If you are interested in seeing this game, Sentry, again, made with Unity. It's a retro FPS with sort of tower defense elements in it. If you want to see this game on Stadia, I mean, I think it looks pretty cool. I think it's my kind of game, kind of that mix of tower defense and FPS. Certainly having a hell of a ball with World War Z. And I also like the style, the graphical style of it as well. So let's get this one trending. And of course, bring it to Stadia. So there you go. I hope you found that useful, and I hope you found that interesting in those games. Let's, you know, get them on board and stuff. Let's galvanize the community, because there's some interesting games there. And hopefully we can do this on a regular basis. You know, we can focus on, you know, games or where the developer has shown an interest or wants to find out more information about Stadia, then that's great. And as you see from that, from Fireblade Software, who said that, you know, Stadia wasn't in their scope. And it's interesting that it's not in their scope, or that some developers, I saw a developer, I think it's called Mama Does Games. Again, a very small indie called Mama Does Games. And she quoted that Stadia weren't just taking anybody, they were curating the title. And so it might be a bit difficult to get her game on Stadia. And somebody asked her, where'd you get this information? And she posted an article from Games Industry Biz from August 2019. Well, I think, things have moved on since August 2019. They've had the Stadia makers. They're actively jumping on, showing, we're opening the door to indie developers much more now. So there's a bit of misinformation amongst some indie developers and stuff like that. So, we have a duty to educate them and bring them up to date and sort of let them know that Stadia is probably willing and interested in bringing their games. And we know that this misinformation exists given the press that Stadia has and stuff. So as I say, the plan is to highlight some titles where developers have shown some interest or curiosity when asked, and all of that, so that, ladies and gentlemen, we can bring it to Stadia, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so there we go. That is the news. That's up to date. Let's hope that we could do more of those bring it to Stadia things. Let me know if you like that little feature. And if you do, also bring to my attention games that we think we should bring to Stadia. I think the qualification is that the developer has shown an interest, or when asked, has shown some positivity about it. And they can say, no, it's not really on our radar, we're not interested. Or they're going, oh, well, I hadn't thought about it, but actually if there's enough enthusiasm, blah, blah, blah. As somebody on Reddit goes, well, of course they're going to say that just seems like a stock answer. Well, maybe it is a stock answer, but at least it's a positive stock answer rather than a negative stock answer, which is no, not interested. So, bring it to Stadia, ladies and gentlemen. Bring it to Stadia. Okay, let's go to the chat, see what the chat's been saying. Have I been missing anything exciting and all of that? See what chat's been up to. Let's go up here. Yeah, obviously a conversation about various Ray's big truck. Twisted. A Chelsea tractor Range Rover. And now your mum knows is looking forward to Hot Wheels, but rates himself as the Fast and Furious. Arthur and Jack looking forward to Hot Wheels. I'm looking forward to Hot Wheels. I think it'll be a good game. It's got that. Who remembers? Was it Micro Machines or Tabletop Racing? I can't remember what game where you raced around the kitchen table, like in maybe Micro Machines or something like that. I can't remember its name anyway. Too right, Stadia Adventure, too right. History is there for us to learn, but do we learn from history? Nope, not on your Nelly. Right. Anthony, of course. Soon, you just have to mention Pac-Man. And Anthony's in there, like some WWE wrestler. Yeah. Did he? Pac-Man. I think he needs a Pac-Man champ. So if you since there's a demo, take Anthony on. Take him on. That's what we say. Right. Look at this, he's bragging about cars and jewelry now. Cloud, what's going on? When I was back in my 20s and jewelry I used to wear a 2-ounce cube. Wow. A 2-ounce Cuban gold chain. David, I was talking about I was talking about Oscar Isaac's accent in Moon Knight, which personally I think is amazing, right? And there is an obscure comedy actor who has a character called Herbert Clumperdunk, something like that. Anyway, it is a bizarre character, but he sounds identical to that. He's like, oh yeah, no, sorry, Yeah, no, oh no, like I had to tie myself to the bed, didn't I? Like, because I wake up and then I don't know where I am or anything like that. It's like, yeah, I've got to go now because I've got to start my job at the museum, haven't I? Yeah, that's my impression of Moon Knight. So there we go. Geek the Sneak, what's up? How are you? The way he calls in the news. What are you saying about calling in the news? It's my alter ego read the news. What I need is a different studio, isn't it? I need a different section of the studio. I need to expand. I'm looking at changing up the studio. Yeah, I need two bits of the studio. You know, I've always wanted a sort of a main bit where then you say we're going to cut to the news desk. But at the moment, I've just got the one studio. So I'm looking to, yeah, I've just got to find the right studio set. We'll get there. We'll expand the show. Don't worry. You know me. I've always wanted. I don't want to do a show like other people. Yeah, that's me. Nothing wrong with that. People like doing the bog standard podcasts, the 2-on-2, the StreamYards, the Melon, labs and stuff like that. Great, fine, popular. Nothing problem with that. But I just like to just add a little something. I like it to be like a TV show. That's how I like to do the show. Anyway, just like to give it a bit of a lemon twist, as it were. New features that won't make it in games in production yet. He basically said these are features developers want, but we'll have to wait until next year projects to take advantage of them. Oh yeah, so that's is that the interview with the Remco? So his name, wasn't it? From space, yeah. Google Flex is lighting up developers, and I think might account for the sour grapes in old school. The Wreck. We'll have to check out hashtag The Wreck. Definitely. If only Outbreak was a good game. Yeah. I think it's not a universal game. Why is my desktop playing? Oh. I think it's for a certain people who like those old school Resident Evil style games, which is what it's sort of based on, with quite a high difficulty. It's not going to be for everybody, but for everybody who likes Call of Duty, there's somebody who's mad on platforming and indie games. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. But I think we should, it's good to have the choice. I don't want to. Ironically enough, I was quoting this developer called Mama Does Games. Mama Makes Games. And she quoted an article. In fact, I've got it here. This is the article I talked about from Games Industry Biz from August 2019. But it's something that we've known about and something which I like, and I've said on this show about how Stadia is curating games and not doing what effectively, Steam does, which will take we'll take anything. Yeah. And then of course, with GeForce Now and its association with Steam, yeah, GeForce Now's got has loads of games. Yeah, it has loads of games. But are they curated? Is there a quality threshold? No. And we've always sort of spotted that with Stadia, that they're certainly curating stuff. And now we have it. I'm surprised I missed this article. This is from August 2019. But here, and in it, this is from Ray Batista. Stage is moving away from the Wild West that exists in some storefronts. So he's sort of talking about, I guess, things like Steam, maybe even Epic. And it was at PAX East. Again, this is from 2019. Google has been picky with who it allows in. It wants its cloud streaming platform to be a curated storefront experience. And I think, I think we're seeing that. And we certainly see that with Stadia Pro. But I think you've got to get a balance. So, yeah, I absolutely, think we've got to maintain. They've got to maintain the standards. So it's a balance between just opening the doors to any old bit of shovelware and it being a platform that is well curated but has lots of choice. And that's a tricky old balance, but definitely curious indie games. I mean, the fact that Sentry, no, which one got the edge? One of those, which one was on the edge? Forget now which, whether the Invincible or the Sentry. Whichever one, anyway, got the front cover of Edge magazine. I'll show you Edge magazine. Is an indication that it's a respected game. Here we are. It's Invincible. Here we are. This is the magazine, The Future of Interactive Entertainment. It's a real glossy, high-end magazine aimed at the developer industry. If you're a gaming fanatic interested in the latest innovations and developments in the industry, as well as reviews of console and game releases. So it's really aimed at people who are interested in the latest in the development industry. They used to have and they have really long reads back in the day. I don't know what it's like now, but back in the day, like really detailed, in-depth reads with, Peter Molyneux, all these big, Shigeru Miyamoto, that sort of thing, real quality. I'm trying to think of an equivalent magazine, like a Forbes, maybe. No, more than that. Like a Time magazine for game? No. Anyway, the fact that the Invincible is on the front cover of this magazine means that certainly wouldn't be shovelware. So definitely bring it to Stadia. But Scooter Army make a good point, The trouble is, how do we judge what a good game is? So there we go. Yeah, Scooter Armor's played it. He didn't like it. But it'd be interesting to see what other people are saying. Ray playing Outbreak now. So it would be interesting to see whether there's a contrast, what Ray thinks about it. So there we go. Oh, yes, Project Z, of course. That was another one. Bring it to Stadia. What we need to do, maybe we need to, whether on a Discord, on the games wish list, have a Bring It to Stadia section. Yeah? And I say we need to, it needs to be qualified. There needs to be qualification of what qualifies it for a Bring It to Stadia. Can't just be like, Call of Duty, bring it to Stadia, I think it needs to have a combination of an interesting game where the developer, when asked, to show an interest in Stadia, and we are somehow bringing Stadia and the developer together, or encouraging the developer to seek out Stadia, etc. Like his mum. Jesus. Thank you, Ken, Mr. W. Much appreciated. It's nice to have nice compliments, I remember them. Ah, the Grand Priest, Clive. Thank you. You know what, Mr. Ken? I couldn't call you Mr. Ken there. Ken, Mr. W. Yes, we do need a good skater game. I know we've got that one on jet skis. I forget what it's called now, which I couldn't. Oh, it's too difficult for me. But yeah, something like a Skater XL. But a skateboarding game. That is what is missing, ladies and gentlemen. A really good skateboarding game. We definitely need that. No one can beck me in Pac-Man, Clive. Yeah, right. Google Play Store was a Wild West initially. So they've learned from that. Well, there's good insight, Purple Haze. Absolutely. I think, especially when you're starting up, you want to be a scene where you want to appear to have, it's better to have quality than quantity, but you do need a good mix of both. So you need a bit of curation, but otherwise, because it says something about your brand ultimately. I mean, look at Apple Store. So yeah, I think it does comment on your brand. So it's a careful balance. Okay. Don't know that one, Balls for Life. We'll have to check that out. We need to, where can we put a list? Maybe in Discord or something. Oh, yeah, exactly. Roll on 1st of May for Lamote. Definitely. Oh, that'd be good. Oh, thank you for the donation there. Much appreciated. Anthony, that's for me. Yeah, don't forget, and it's not just because you paid. Well, it's triggered in my memory, but I was going to say it anyway. Put your link, before I forget. I always forget, Anthony. Put the link to your show in the chat, and I'll approve it, and then I'll send people over to you. Okay. Baseball. There was. I did see. There was a baseball game that was one of those games that got certified, but we've never sort of seen again. RBI baseball or whatever it was. Yeah, there are a couple. Maybe a couple. That sounds two, isn't it? There are probably maybe about 3 or 4 titles that were rated, but we never saw. That doesn't mean that I still believe games that are rated, we are, so far consistently over the last 12 months, games that have been rated have turned up pretty soon after they've been rated. But yeah, there was a baseball game that was rated. Hey, Tokyo Olympics as baseball. Yeah. Right. He's posted it. Maybe it didn't come up. Normally it comes up and says, I have to prove it. Let me just go to your site. And now your mama. Oh, there he is. What does Cloud Gaming X podcast ending mean for the community? Right. Okay. I wanted RBI to come to Stadia. Yeah, well, it was rated. I just saw recently somebody was doing a list, because it's always good to do negative things. Someone was doing a list of games that have been certified for Stadia, but we've not seen. And we know there's some Mafia games that we've not seen. And there was a couple of others. And one of them I completely forgot was the baseball game. But there you go. Anyway, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Stadia Monday Night Chat. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's put... There we are. That's up next. Yeah. Anthony is up next. If you're interested, the link is in the chat. Again, Ollie Ollie. Oh, yeah, that's a good game. One thing to do. Yeah, what happened to Zorro? There's another one. One thing to do, I think, which is quite fun, is to look at those developers who are on the low change porting and see what games they've got or recent games they've got. Look at Wired Productions, see what games they've got. They're more likely to sort of be in a mind to bring games and stuff like that. So anyway, that's enough piffle paffle. That's enough talk for tonight. I hope you found that useful. I hope you found it interesting. I really, really appreciate you all being Adverts are going off there. Being here tonight and entertaining me, and of course being in the chat, which is really, really important because it is the Stadia Monday Night Chat. Why don't we all do this at the same time, same place next week? Thank you for watching.